Hey friends, welcome back to a new video. So about 2 months ago, I moved to a city where I knew absolutely no one. And to be honest, I was really nervous that I would have a hard time finding new friends. Back in school, I was pretty good at making friends. I believe that I am someone that is good at making really deep connections, but when it comes to the initial approaching and the small talk and the chit chat, I am more shy. Luckily for me, in school, you were in a sense forced into a social situation. You were together with the same people for about 8 hours, so you were kind of bound to talk a little bit and introduce yourselves. So in school, making friends was really easy for me. But as an adult, you often lack this kind of community that you have as a base that you spend so much time with, like when you were back in school. As an adult, I found that your life is so much more isolated and you have to make so much more of an effort to go out and meet new people. It's not impossible, but it's definitely more difficult, especially for people who are more shy when it comes to approaching new people. On top of that, I work for myself, I work from home, so pretty much I'm at home by myself, even more isolated most of the time. So I have to make even more of an effort to put myself out there to get myself into situations where I would meet new people. So first of all, I asked myself, where would I even begin to find these settings where it is easier for me to meet new people? I mean, I certainly didn't want to just wander around the streets talking to just anyone who crossed my path. That was a little too uncomfortable for me. But the first few weeks, I made it my mission to really put all my energy into finding connections. I knew it was something that I felt was really important to me, and I really wanted to build a group of people that I can really rely on, that I can really connect with, that fills my, in a sense, social needs. And even though I would say I'm an introvert, I would still say that everyone has this certain need for social interactions. We are, after all, social beings. Research has even found that lack of social connections is a big reason why people often fall into depression. And I'm so happy that my work paid off. I really did put a lot of work into trying to find new friends and connect with people. And yeah, I wanted to share with you how I went about it, where I was able to meet people, and maybe this can be a really helpful inspiration for you, since for me, making friends as an adult was such a scary and difficult thing before. But now that I've been able to successfully, in a sense, overcome it, I wanted to, I guess, share my experience. So the first place that I went to was Facebook. Now, I'm not someone that is generally active on Facebook, but I do still have it. And Facebook, I think, is a great place to find groups. On Facebook, I had searched new in and then the city that I moved to, and I found even a few groups. And among those few groups, I even found a new in group that was exclusively for women, and that just made me feel more safe to a certain degree. So I joined that group and I decided to write a post something into the group to just, in a sense, introduce myself, say where I'm from, why I'm here, when I moved to the city, what my interests are, and I try to be as specific as possible and to go into as much detail as possible about who I am. And I'd also try to be honest, and I tried not to, in a sense, hide or leave out things that I would think maybe a lot of people wouldn't enjoy. My goal was to, in a sense, already filter out as much of the people as possible. So I knew that those that were to contact me are those that resonated with the things that I had shared about myself. I did get feedback from less people than the average of the group, and at first I was a little sad about that. I questioned myself, but I reminded myself that that was the goal. I didn't want a ton of messages from people that I had have to sift through. I wanted to be really specific of who I am. I like this, I don't like shopping, I don't like partying, going out, things like that. And so with that, I already filtered out all the people that would like something like that. So it's a good thing to be picky like that. And with the very few people that did message me, I had met up for a cup of coffee. And the first time I was very nervous since I felt like this is so strange. I'm meeting this stranger on the internet. Today I'm actually having coffee with one of those girls. I've never really done anything like this. It feels kind of like I'm going on a blind date. I mean, even dating wise, I've never online dated before, so this feels a little weird not knowing what kind of person is going to show up, but I'm really excited, and yeah, maybe this will blossom into a beautiful friendship. Maybe it won't, who knows, but it's definitely a new and interesting learning experience. Yeah, I met 4 people so far through Facebook, and they were all really, really nice, and I had such a lovely time. And I think it is also because I was so picky and filtered so much in the beginning that those in-person interactions that I then had, taking that next step, they were really lovely, and we did connect on a lot of levels. From those 4 people that met, 2 stood out to me really specifically in the sense that we just connected more than the others, and those were also then the people that I had kind of stayed in touch with, messaged a few times, and it is mutual that we want to keep hanging out and kind of build a relationship that way. So that was a really nice and positive experience for me. The second place I met new people was a book club. And I thought that I'd really love reading, and why not join a physical book club? But then I had kind of said, okay, yeah, but I only like reading, or I prefer reading English books, and the chances that there will be an English speaking book club in Germany was just so slim. Let me not bother. But I realized that I had limited myself to this belief. I had said that this thing does not exist, even though I didn't know whether it existed. So I went out and searched for a book club, and lo and behold, there was a English-speaking book club. And I looked at the books that they read in the past, and were all really cool books that I would definitely want to read. So that was really exciting, and right away I joined, and we'd already read a book together, and we'd met up and discussed, and it's just such a lovely and beautiful community of women from a lot of different countries and with a lot of different backgrounds and from a lot of different ages and stages in life. And that was something I found to be really beautiful, that it was such a diverse community. And I think a lot of times, at least for me, I had this misconception of the person I'm friends with needs to be so similar to me. That's the only way we're going to click on all levels. But that's so not true. And the older I get, the more I enjoy spending time with people that are pretty different to me, because they're like a new perspective in a sense, and I feel I am exposed to more different things that allow me to grow in a certain aspect. If you're always seeing the same things, the same people, the same opinions, doing the same things, then that can be very repetitive and also limiting to some degree. Then number 3 is I just reacquainted myself with old friends or old acquaintances. I reached out to a friend from back in high school. She doesn't live in the same city as I do, but pretty close by. Also another classmate from high school that I wasn't necessarily friends with back in school, but we were friendly, and it was really nice meeting her again. And I feel like back in high school, you were such a different person to who you are now, and it's really cool to see the people from back then. And for example, the friend that I wasn't friends with, or not as much friends with back in high school, we can kind of come together as sort of new people and form a new relationship. And I think that's really interesting, and you can reflect both on how you've grown, what has changed, and yeah, that's just really interesting to do. So sometimes we forget that there are actually a lot of people that we know that might be in our vicinity. Who knows? Everyone moves around a lot, but that is an easy place to try to reconnect. And then number 4 is to do something you care about. So I was on the hunt for a side job for some extra income, and I had thought of all the typical side jobs like waitressing, working at the supermarket, but those things didn't really speak to me. It was a job that I would dread to go to every single time. So I started to try to think out of the box. Okay, well, what is a small side job that I can do that is in an area that I'm more interested in? So I was very happy and very lucky to be able to get a small side job at the opera here in the city that I live in. And it's just an organization that I believe in and stand behind 100%. So going into work is just so much fun and feels so much more fulfilling. And I found that the other people that are working there are such interesting people. They're also people that believe in what you believe in. That's why they're working there, and they just have so interesting and amazing stories. Working in a space where you really stand behind what you work for and what you're supporting is also a great way to meet other like-minded people. For example, if the world of books is just your everything, then for example, working in publishing might be something that is interesting, since the other people that work in publishing will probably also really love books. That's just a way that I have found to meet really interesting people that I resonate with a lot. So once again here, being picky was a good thing. I had at first questioned if I was allowed to be this picky with a side job that is just meant to provide income, but being picky has allowed me to gain a job that I absolutely love and also meet really awesome people. So with just these 4 places, I had already met so many people, and I felt like my social calendar was so full, and it really fulfilled me. I was really happy about this fact, and I have even more places kind of lined up where I want to try to meet even more people. So for one, I have jotted down the community gardens, since it is only barely starting to be spring-like. It just isn't the season to start gardening yet, but gardening is something that I really enjoy and I would like to dive more into. We have also planned out a lot of gardening things and vegetables for our balcony that I'm so excited about. So once the gardening season starts, I will also be joining the community garden here in our city. It is something that my friend had brought to my attention, that community gardens are a thing in pretty much every big city, and I didn't think of it, but I had just searched up community garden and the city that I lived in, and a bunch of them popped up. So that is also maybe something you have also not thought about, but I feel like there is a group for any and every interest there is. There's a group for photography, a group for juggling, a group for brunching, a group for a vegan group. Well, sadly, here in the city there is no vegan group, but most of cities have something along those lines. And yeah, with the internet, it's easy to connect to the groups and then to meet up in person. Something I also want to do coming up is to volunteer at a cause that I truly believe in and stand behind. And then at the volunteering spot, you can meet other people that are also passionate about this cause, and you have this in common. I've also found that community centers are something that are really interesting. It is something that I've never really considered for some reason. For example, the community center here in the city, they have really awesome workshops that are for free, art workshops or poetry slams or gigs, concerts, parties, and you can really pick and choose what you're interested in. Are you interested in indie music and jazz music and art and poetry and literature workshops? You can really join what you like and then find like-minded people there, or even join something that you're interested in but don't know much about, and then find people that have that same interest there. I think it's easier to get to know people at activities where you're in a sense forced to work together, instead of meeting people at, for example, a museum or a concert, because you're it's not a place or an activity where you interact a lot with other people, especially for people like me. I'm more shy when it comes to approaching people. It's easier to meet people at activities like, for example, a book club discussion where where the purpose is kind of to interact with each other, if that makes sense. So that has really helped for me. Through this process, I've also kind of had a few thoughts and I guess revelations about friendships. And one thing I've kind of already touched on is that I used to have this misconception that your friend needs to be exactly like you. You have to like all the same things, otherwise you won't be as good of friends in a sense. But I realized it's totally okay to have different friends for different activities in a sense. You have a friend that loves art like you do, so you go to exhibitions with that friend, or you have a friend that loves yoga like you do, and you have a yoga friend. So you don't have to match all the criterias. And when I had that notion, I was really limiting myself because we're all unique and no one likes everything that I like. So I realized that I was limiting myself in a lot of things, thinking that no one has the same likes as me. I'm not going to find people in that interest anyways. And a lot of the reasons why I wasn't able to meet new people was because I had put these restrictions on myself. Then I had also learned that being picky is good, especially with friends. I mean, friends are people you want to be spending a lot of time with, and you want them to be people that inspire you, or you inspire them, that it is a mutual beneficial connection. And you don't need to be friends with the next best person. You can really pick and choose, and we tend to be really similar to the top 5 people we spend most of our time with. So is that person someone you would like to see yourself kind of be similar to? So does that person have the same values as you, or values that you aspire to have or not? Does the person have traits that you aspire to have or not? And being mindful that I have to choose a person as well as that person choosing me. So I have a say in this too, who I want to be friends with. And then I also learned to be myself, but be scarily myself. Like show myself in every aspect of the way. And if someone doesn't like that, then it's a good thing that they don't like that, in the sense that now this has come up and we can discuss or see whether this is a make or break thing for the friendship. I used to be scared to offend people or to say something that the person doesn't like or agree with, and I've learned that that's okay. Not everyone's going to agree with everything you say, and you just have to decide whether that is the friendship deal breaker or not. If I'm someone that is passionately plant-based and the person just laughs about plant-based people and says that is stupid or whatever, then maybe this friendship wasn't meant to be, and that's okay. And the more honest you are about who you are, the more you lay on the table of, okay, this is who I am, and you can see how the other person reacts. Are they being judgy? Are they not accepting who you as you are? Then maybe you might want to reconsider the friendship. So this was my journey to find new friends. I'm still kind of on the journey as well, since it's still all pretty fresh. It's been a really amazing challenge where I've been really proud of myself in the way that I've stepped up and stepped out of my box and put myself out there and made myself vulnerable like that. And I hope that there's been aspects of this that are really helpful for you. Something I hear definitely is that it is harder as an adult and we need to make more of an effort. But just know that everyone's going through this similar journey. Let me know where you like to meet new people, or what are tips that you have to make new friends. I'd love to know. Maybe there's something that I left out or didn't think of. Let us help each other out. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.